Hey, and welcome back to class number 2 in my beginner series. And I really hope you enjoyed class number 1. Hopefully if you're here, it means you did and you're back for round 2. This class is just going to hopefully be a bit more of a natural progression from the last one. Now that you've got used to your lunges, your tabletops, engaging the core and those sorts of things, we're just going to add on slightly from the last one. One thing I actually did forget to mention in the last class is to surround yourself with props at all times. You don't actually have to have a snazzy yoga block or a strap. They are super handy. If you do, more for the advanced ones, but if at any time you need to use them, I am all for props. I think it makes life 10 times easier. It makes us way more relaxed when we're in poses. So that we can then progress to do them further, because the one thing you don't want is just going out of your comfort zone to try to nail a pose or look good in one, because that's going to take you back a step because your body's not ready for it just yet and you can injure your muscles. Also, pillow, cushion, really handy to have, especially if you find those seated postures difficult. Even if when you're sitting and you're cross-legged and you find it quite difficult to sit up, if you just hook, I'll sit this way actually, you just hook the front edge of the pillow, you don't even have to sit fully onto. If you just hook that sort of bit of the cushion on, helps to bring the body forward, so you're not hurting your back or anything like that. So please don't think it's better to not use props than use them. But yeah, even if you have a book or something like that, I always think with this one, like one of those dressing gown ties or anything like that, it's really good to have. We shouldn't really need them for this class. But yeah, if anything was difficult in the other class, go and grab some and keep them handy. But yeah, let's not go on too much and let's start. We're actually going to start in our child's pose now that we know that from the last class. So if you remember that, we will face the front of our mats. We'll move on to our knees to begin with. Again, we're going to keep the toes, big toes together. If we played around with it the last time, or now that you're used to doing that child's pose, you can maybe start to bring the knees out slightly further, but just within your comfort zone. We're going to bring our foreheads as close to that mat as we possibly can. So we're going to crawl down, crawling forward very slowly, touching the forehead to the mat if you can. Once that's there, we'll crawl the fingertips forward a little further to wherever's comfortable for us. And we're just going to relax and breathe here for a few breaths. Just feel and notice every part of your body that's touching the mat right now. Just go through each one of them individually. I can feel my hands, for example. I can feel parts of my forearms, my forehead's touching the mat, my shins, my toes. Just noticing it. We're going to take a couple of slower breaths here to calm the bodies down, to relax and get ready to start moving. So similarly to the last time, we're going to breathe in for 4. We are then going to hold at the top for 1. And we're going to breathe it all out through the mouth. So when you've exhaled, we're going to inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Feeling the back expanding as we do. And out. 3, 2, 1. One more of these, enjoy it. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 8, and out. Through the mouth if you want to. 1. Lovely. From here, we're going to just move the hands over. We're going to crawl the hands over where they are towards the right hand side. Just as far as is comfortable for you. Again, we really don't have to move far here to get a good stretch in. It's just those active fingertips. It's pushing the bum towards the heels that's going to really make you feel it from the hip all the way along the side body, all the way along the side of the arm. Breathing deeply in these bigger stretches. You can move the left hand on top of the right hand if you've got space to do so. One more breath in and out, and crawl it over to the other side. Again, don't have to move far. Hand on top of the other hand if you can. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Crawl it back into the middle. And crawl our hands back up. So we're sitting on our knees. If your knees were far out, bring them together, zip them together. And we'll do a lovely spinal twist from here. Our left hand is going to come to the outside edge of the right knee. And our right hand is going to come directly behind us. Maybe on the fingertips is easier. This is when you can use the likes of blocks and pillows and things like that. If you're finding it quite difficult to stretch to the ground, pop your hand or your fingertips on a block. Here we're going to breathe in to stretch the spine, act like someone's pulling the crown of the head to the ceiling. And we're going to breathe out, look over the right shoulder, wringing out that cloth. Breathing in, stretching the spine out a little more. Breathing out, twisting a little further if we can. Final time, breathe in. And breathe out, twist it out. Swinging straight over to the other side. Right hand catches the outside edge of the left knee. Fingertips come to a block or the mat or a pillow, whatever's easier. Breathing in to stretch up first and breathing out to look over the left shoulder. Breathing in, stretch her up. And breathing out, twist her out. Final time to breathe in. And out, wring it all out. Coming back to neutral. We're going to crawl forward into our tabletop. We know how it's done this time. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, hands shoulder width distance apart, knees hip width distance apart, in a perfect box position. Moving into those cat-cows that we were doing before. We're going to breathe out first of all. Push into the palms, push into the shoulders, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Breathing in, looking up, bringing the shoulders back, bringing the bum up. Breathe out, push it all out, nice and slowly. Push out of those shoulders, tuck it in, breathe everything out. And breathe it in, shoulders back, bum up, look up. One more, just like this. Breathing out. And breathe in, look up, shoulders back. Perfect, come to neutral. We're going to add on a little bit from what we did the last time and just test our balance a wee bit. So last time we had 3 points touching the floor and we raised one part off. This time we're just going to test and see if we can balance with 2 points remaining on the mat. So we're going to do exactly what we did before. We're going to bring our, I'm going to kick my block out of the road. We're going to bring our right foot back, give it a little shimmy shake back and forth. And then we're going to push into the palms, push into the knee. Using the glutes and that core strength, lift it up, point the toe. This time, we're going to take the left hand off the mat. So here we want to push in a little bit more to spread out the fingertips as well to give you more surface area, and push into the right hand so we can lift and sweep and reach. Even if you can just do it for 1 second, just keep doing that until you get your balance. It's really coming from the core here and from pushing that knee and that into the mat. So stretch it out, stretch out the toes and stretch out the hands in both directions. And bring it back down. Actually, we're going to come straight through with the foot. Bring the hand down straight through the foot, come with the knee, crunch it in. And bring the right foot in between the hands for our lunge. This is familiar. Come onto the fingertips. We can actually this time use that scissor motion to sweep the hands up to the sky. Make sure your alignment's all good here. Move the ankle forward so it's tracking directly underneath the knee. And always, I still do that little check of putting your hands behind your hips just to make sure they're both tracking forward. We're going to hold here and breathe this time. Hold it just a little bit longer using that scissoring action. Breathing deeply. And fingertips back down to the mat, back into our tabletop position. Let's stretch out the leg again and move it back and forward. Perfect, back to tabletop. All the same thing on the opposite side. Hands pushing into the mat, and we're going to lift on our right knees, pushing into the mat so we can lift up the left leg this time. Stretch it out, point the toe, make sure we're not rotating it. Keeping the core engaged so the knees still pointing towards the floor. This time pushing into that left hand to see if we can stretch over the right hand, or literally just as far as you can go. See if you can stretch, stretch, stretch. Using our core, balancing here, breathing, and back down. Sorry, straight through, swing it through. I keep forgetting. Crunch it in. And move it forward. Same as last time. Move your hands behind the ankle. Come up to your fingertips. First of all, I would actually check the alignment first of your ankle below your knee before we use that scissor motion with our hips. Just swing our hands up. Give it a little check. Yep, hips are both pointing forward here, so I can bring my hands back up. And breathe. Breathing deeply here. Brilliant, fingertips back down to the mat. Foot comes back, straighten it straight out so that then we can move it back and forward, flush it out. Back to tabletop. Toes together, knees apart if you want to, and into our child's pose to flush that out. See if you can, in our child's pose this time because we've done it before in the class, we can potentially move our knees out a bit further, or get that forehead towards the mat a little bit more. One big deep breath, we're not holding it here for too long. Just flushing out the movement. And now we're going to go up into a downward dog. We're going to give it a go. See if we can do it. If at any point it becomes too difficult for you, come back onto your child. You know you're going on with the child's pose. So to do our downward dog, we're going to start by focusing on the hands before we do anything. So stay in your child's pose. We're going to spread the fingertips wide and then push them back into the mat. Here you're going to act like you're ripping, I've got a nice line down my mat, but you're going to act like you're ripping the mat in half by twisting both the arms out to bring our shoulder blades together behind us. So twisting it like you're opening two jars, like you want to tear the mat apart. When you've got that engagement, then you can tuck the toes behind, pushing backwards to send the bum up towards the sky. Now keep your knees bent as much as you like here. People try to think that they just want to straighten out the legs. That takes a long time, unless you're flexible already. But for a lot of us, it takes a good while to be able to straighten out our legs and get those heels down. So what you want to do is bend the knees as much as you can so that you can open up the chest. As if you're sending the chest towards the quads and pushing the hips up to the sky. We're going to hold it in stillness, and then we're going to start crawling the hands back towards the feet. So crawl the hands back really slowly and steadily to come onto the feet, keeping our knees bent, adjusting our feet if they're not hip width distance apart. We're going to go into a nice forward fold. So here's the same action of pushing the bum and the hips up to the sky, but this time we're letting the front body totally relax and letting gravity pull it down. It feels really nice when you bend the knees. Again, eventually you're going to want to work to straighten your legs in this pose, but bend the knees as much as you want to or need to. You just hang out here, sway side to side, releasing the neck by shaking the head no, by nodding the head yes. And if you want to as well, you can grab onto both of your elbows. It's called a ragdoll. Just let it all hang out. Perfect. If your hands are in your elbows, you can bring the fingertips back down. We're going to push through all corners, four corners of the feet. And when I say all four corners, I mean the toes, the heels, the outer edge, and the inner edge. We're going to push through everything in the feet. Still with the knees bent. And start pushing up, uncurling the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Uncurling it, head comes up last. Then you can sweep the hands over the head, reach up, and bring the hands to the chest. Perfect. You're just going to stand in mountain pose here in stillness for a couple of breaths. You just stand with your feet hip width distance apart and relax and breathe. Perfect. When you're ready, with our next inhale, we're going to sweep the hands back up over the head. See if you can come onto your tippy toes here, even just for a second. Just for balance again. And this time we're going to swan dive down. You can bend the knees again. We're going to sweep the hands down until they meet the toes again. We're going to go into what's known as a flat back. I still need to move my hands up my shins to do so. We want our back and spine to be totally straight. So some people can still do it when their hands on the floor. And I've got longer legs than I do torso. So we all need to adjust for our bodies in certain poses. So shoulder blades are going to come together to straighten the spine. We're going to look down. Our neck is an extension of our spine. We're going to have the whole spine straight. And then we're going to breathe out back to our forward fold. This time we're going to crawl the hands forward into a plank position. So keeping the feet where they are. Crawling the hands forward into a plank position. Hold firmly here, pushing out of the hand. If this is too difficult as well, always an option to come down to the knees. But test yourself out, give it a try. Push into the hands, push into the feet, push the heels back. Engage the whole body, the core. Try not to have your bum up or down. It's real core engagement here to do this. and send it back to downward dog. Push into the hands, open the chest, send the hips up to the sky and bend the knees as much as you need to. From here, we're going to use that curling motion of bringing our foot forward. This is how we're going to practice it. We're going to lift the right leg up just slightly. Try not to open out to the side. Try to keep the hip facing downwards. Bend the knee and curl the knee into the chest again. See if from here in this plank position, you can move it forward. Again, grab behind, shimmy, shake it forward. But try and keep, it's always an option again to lower the knee, but try to keep the knee up if you can this time. This is called a runner's lunge. So we're going to straighten the spine, come up onto your fingertips. We're going to plant the left hand down onto the mat and come into a bit of a twist here. So planting the left hand down onto the mat. Again, this would be a good place to use your block if this is difficult for you. Just showing how you can use these props if you need to. And we're going to twist by moving the right hand up across the body and up towards the ceiling. And hold here and breathe. Again, option, always an option to drop the knee if you need to. But try and keep it engaged, try and keep the legs firm and tensed if you can. And now we'll come back down, we'll drop the knee. We're going to do a lizard pose here, so a bit of a hip opener. We are going to, with the palm exactly where it is, we're going to untuck the toes. We're going to hold the knee on the inside edge of the knee. And we're going to move the foot over onto the outer edge of the foot. We're just going to push the knee just out as far as it'll go. This is quite a deep stretch here, so really don't worry if this is quite difficult. It's just to get used to that hip opening motion. Tucking the tailbone in here as well. Engaging that core. We love core engagement in yoga. Pushing. Breathe in. This can be a super intense stretch. So breathe in really deeply when it's difficult. Brilliant. We'll bring it slowly back in out of that one. Place the hands outside the feet. We're going to tuck the toe, plant the palms, and see if we can bring the right foot out. Go back into your plank if you want to, or into a tabletop, whatever's easier. Either way, you can, if you're in your plank, you can just move forward and backwards slightly, or if you're in your tabletop, just move the leg forwards and backwards. All that fun on the other side. Back into your downward dog. If you're from plank, you're going to push back into the downward dog. Act like we're ripping open the mat in the middle. Push, spreading the fingers, pushing into the palm, opening the chest, sending the hips up, bend the knees. Left foot's going to come up this time. We're going to bend the knee and curl it inwards. Curling it as close to the chest as we can as we pull it through and put it in between the hands. Give you a little chance to shimmy shake if you need to. Always option to drop the knee here if you want, if you're feeling strong. Keep the leg tensed, keep the knee up. And from the other side, we're going to put the hand down. I'm going to do a fight block this time, but use it if and when you need to. Pop the hand down and we're going to open up, sending the hand up, twisting here. Twists are so good for digestion as well. So always keep that in mind. Hold, push that palm in, tense the legs, and back down. This time everybody's going to drop the knee if you haven't already. And our lizard on the other side. Untuck the toe if it's tucked, and our hand's going to come to the inner edge of that knee, pushing it out onto the small edge of the foot. pushing it open just as much as you can, as is available to you. Really deep hip opener here. Breathing super deeply to get the oxygen to those muscles that we're using. And pull her back in really slowly whenever you're in those deeper stretches. Plant the palms down and move back, either into your tabletop or back up into plank, as I said, if you're feeling strong. Come up and down on the toes, just a little bit. And you'll be glad to know that the worst of it's over. If you are in your plank, stay there, you're doing well. If you're on your knees, we're gonna do that. Come down to the mat for our cobra. So our elbows are gonna tuck into our body and we're gonna move really, 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 really slowly the whole way down. Perfect. Zip the legs up. Push the front of the legs into the mat. Keep your hands just below your shoulders and touching into the body if you can. That intention of bringing our elbows together, pushing up with our back strength, opening our chest, pushing up through the hands to give you a bit of help. Breathe in and back down. Perfect. Push back up into our child's pose. One breath. And crawl the hands back up towards the knees, very slowly here. You've done the worst of it, just a couple of cool down stretches and we are all good to go. I'm going to come on to, well, as if we were going to cross our legs, we're going to do a cobbler's pose. So it's not exactly a cross-legged position. We're going to bring the bottom of our feet together. So let's bring the bottom of our feet to touch together. Hold on to the ankles if you want to, keeping your spine quite straight here. You can clasp on to the bottom of the legs if that's possible. And you just literally letting the knees droop down to the side. We're not pushing them here. We're literally just letting gravity do the work. If you want to as well, you can butterfly. Your hips are quite tight. Breathe in here. And if you've still got a little further to go, as well, sorry, if the further out the heels are away, it's going to be slightly easier. You can keep bringing the heels in closer to get more of a stretch as well. There's always options and variations of every single pose. Doesn't matter if your heels are fully out there, just literally do what you can. It's the action and intention of it. You're still going to receive all of the benefits of the pose, just different bodies are used to different movements. But yeah, so if you still have a little further to go, then we're going to use those hands, clasping onto the hands or on your ankles and just push forward slightly to open up the hips. Just for one breath, breathe out. Perfect, and sit back up if you bent down, hands onto the outer edge of the knees and you're going to push them in together, holding on to the knees. I'm just going to move, you stay where you are, I'm just going to move back onto my mat. We're going to lie down very slowly. You can engage the core if you want to, or just relax down. You've done a lot of hard work so far. To do a bit of a stretch on our glutes. So this time, figure four, you might know this from other exercises as well. We're going to keep the left leg bent as it is. We're going to take the right ankle up and hook it over the left knee, like so. You can use your hand if you want to push the knee out straight. If not, again, just let it lie wherever it will. If you've still got more stretching to go, we are going to clasp the hands behind the left leg here. Just clasp them here and lie down. Stay here for a couple of breaths. stretching the glutes, back of the leg. Enjoy it. Perfect. Another side. So we're going to let go of that. Place the foot back down on the mat. And we're just going to swap over to the other side. Perfect. Left ankle this time comes over the top of the right knee. Push it down if you want to, or just let it hang there. And same thing, you've still got more to go. Clasp the hands behind the leg and hang it here. And close down the eyes. Just relaxing. Doing this really nice stretch. Perfect. Let her go whenever you're ready. And bring the hands back down to the feet. Perfect. Now we can go down into our Savasana. So legs straightening out, letting the toes fall out. Turn the palms up towards the ceiling. You can lift up the shoulder blades to curl them behind you. Keeping the neck nice and straight. And relaxing. Feeling all those stretches in each part of the body that you're working. See if you can feel a little bit stronger. Are you tired? Are you breathing more deeply than you were breathing at the start of the class? Are you feeling like you can get up and ready to go now? Just noticing the differences in your body. Relaxing it all down. Letting it all go. Feeling into those parts of the body that are touching the ground, just as we did at the start. Feeling into each of them. Breathe. Relax. You're welcome to pause the video and stay here for a bit longer. Then if you're ready, start wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingertips. You can rock the neck from side to side as well if you want to. Perfect. Then we're going to roll over to one side, whatever side you prefer. Really slowly. And then push up into a cross-legged position. Bringing the hands in front of the chest. Namaste.